Absolutely, I've gone through your transcript carefully, and I can craft a dramatic, story-driven YouTube documentary-style narrative based on it. Here's a polished, professional version in the tone and style you requested, keeping it vivid, flowing. And around 2,800 words, the drama surrounding this fight began long before the bell rang. Naoya Inoue, already a two-division champion by 2015, had built a reputation as a relentless, almost unstoppable force in the ring, known to fans and analysts alike simply as the Monster. His rise was marked by devastating knockouts and a ferocity that seemed beyond human. But even monsters are not invincible. His right hand, a weapon that had carried him through countless victories, had just suffered a serious injury in his previous bout, a savage knockout of Omar Navas that left fans in awe and worry alike. For most, such an injury would have been enough to pause, to step back, to regroup. But his next opponent saw it differently. David Carmona, 5-fight unbeaten Mexican warrior, stood ready to challenge the champion. His record 20 wins, no losses, no knockouts suffered, was a testament not just to skill, but to durability. Carmona was a machine of a fighter, a gladiator with fast hands and a lethal left hook that could strike at any moment. For him, this was the chance of a lifetime. A shot at a major title. A chance to prove that the so-called monster was human, and perhaps even he could be toppled. On May 8th, the arena was electric. Fans packed the venue, their anticipation palpable. The stage was set for a collision not just of fists, but of wills. As the bell rang, both fighters approached cautiously, feeling each other out, testing distance and timing. But caution quickly gave way to controlled chaos. Inoue, despite the lingering pain in his right hand, pressed forward immediately, unleashing precise punishing combinations with his left. Carmona, undeterred, met the assaults head-on, firing his own powerful hooks. Looking for any opening to exploit the champion's compromised state from the opening moments. It was clear that the fight would be a battle of endurance and strategy as much as raw power. Inoue's speed and angles were on full display. His left jab, vicious and unrelenting, disrupted Carmona's rhythm, forcing the challenger back and keeping him from setting up his own offense. Observers could see the difference instantly: the subtle shifts in weight, the slight pivot of the feet, the way Inoue's eyes calculated every move in real time. He was fighting not just with his body but with his mind, turning the fight into a chess match where each punch was both an attack and a probe. Carmona, however, was far from passive. Time and again, he absorbed Inoue's most powerful blows, refusing to yield. Each time he was forced backward, he responded with bursts of aggression, snapping left hooks into Inoue's guard, attempting to break through the champion's defenses. It was a display of raw Mexican grit, a showcase of courage that even the commentators couldn't help but marvel at. Here was a man who, by every conventional measure, should have been outmatched, but his heart, his will, kept him standing. Refusing to bend in the face of a storm, midway through the fight, the stakes became even higher. Inoue's right hand, already compromised, suffered another setback. A subtle but significant fracture meant that the champion could no longer rely on the hand that had brought him countless victories. The crowd held its collective breath as Inoue adjusted, pivoting almost entirely to his left hand. This was a moment of vulnerability for a man who had rarely, if ever, been tested in such a way. And yet Inoue adapted seamlessly. Where some might falter, he intensified his control over distance, timing, and power, turning his left-hand dominance into a masterclass of strategy. Round after round, the narrative unfolded like a dramatic novel written in punches and footwork. Inoue's left jab became both shield and spear. Carmona attempted to close the distance, to disrupt the rhythm. But each attempt was met with sharp counters, precise hooks, and uppercuts that landed with calculated force. Every feint, every step, every subtle shift of weight was analyzed by commentators and fans alike, who watched as the fight transformed into an epic duel of skill, determination, and sheer mental fortitude. What made this battle extraordinary was not just Inoue's technical brilliance, but the psychological warfare that underpinned every exchange. Carmona's resilience forced Inoue to think several moves ahead, to predict counters, and to exploit even the smallest openings. The champion's corner, led by his father and trainer Shingo Inoue, played a crucial role in guiding strategy. When to maintain distance, when to press forward, and how to control the rhythm despite the limitations of a damaged hand. Inoue's life in boxing had always been disciplined, almost ritualistic in its preparation, and this fight demanded the full measure of that discipline. Despite the disadvantage, Inoue never showed signs of panic. Each round saw him adjusting, learning, and exploiting opportunities. He mixed angles, varied punches, and maintained pressure while conserving the limited power of his right hand. The commentators were awed at how he could dominate while appearing so constrained. How he could dictate the pace without relying on the tool that had defined his career. Carmona, for his part, continued to press forward, throwing combinations that, on any other night, might have toppled lesser champions. But here his efforts, while valiant, were met with calculated defense and responsive counterattacks. By the 6th and 7th rounds, the fight had taken on the intensity of a gladiatorial spectacle. Inoue's left-hand dominance forced Carmona to continually adjust, to fight against an invisible wall that seemed to control every inch of the ring. Each jab, each hook, each strategic feint applied pressure not just physically, but mentally. For the first time, observers could see cracks in the monster's aura, not because he was faltering, but because the challenge was genuine. Carmona had already done what few could. He had survived multiple rounds against a champion many considered untouchable, winning 4 rounds in the process, a feat unmatched in Inoue's career to that point. The drama reached its zenith in the final round. The crowd's energy was deafening as both fighters pushed their bodies and wills to the absolute limit. Carmona's spirit remained unbroken, his body battered but defiant. Inoue, operating almost entirely with his left hand, moved with precision, exploiting every lapse in defense, every hint of overextension. The final seconds unfolded like a cinematic crescendo, a barrage of combinations, a masterclass of timing, and then the devastating conclusion that reminded everyone why he was called the monster. Inoue landed the strikes that finally overwhelmed Carmona, not with brute force alone, but with strategy, experience, and unyielding will. The referee raised Inoue's hand. The scorecards confirming the outcome: 118 to 109, 118 to 109. In the surprisingly close 116 to 111, Carmona had lost. Yes, but in the hearts of fans and the annals of boxing history, he had achieved something extraordinary against one of the most feared champions in the sport, and with rounds in which he had stood toe-to-toe with a man who rarely shows weakness. Carmona earned recognition not for victory, but for courage, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of glory. For Inoue, the fight was a testament to adaptability and mental toughness. It was a demonstration that even under physical limitation, mastery, discipline, and willpower can define the outcome. His left-hand dominance, his ability to dictate pace, to read and predict, to counter and control, all showcased the full spectrum of his genius as a fighter. The fight became a case study in overcoming adversity within the very moment of combat, proof that sometimes the greatest battles are fought not against the opponent, but against circumstance itself. In the aftermath, while Carmona nursed the injuries of a battle well fought,